What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. We've bought a diesel heater and we're back working on the van. So the winter's over now, so the weather's warming up a little bit and we want to get back out in the van. We've got some trips booked and we need the diesel heater because it's still a bit cold despite the weather getting a little bit better. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So straight into it here, guys. We've got diesel heater and all the bits that come with it. So we've gone for the silent pump, so that's going to go under the van. All the different air intakes and kind of outtakes and exhaust and all that kind of stuff. So today we're going to figure out how we can get this in the van. The positioning of the diesel heater is going to go around here, and yeah, we're going to get it installed. So the first thing we need to do is prepare the fuel tank, because inside the fuel tank, which they haven't done for me, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is, we've got like the fuel kind of tap that goes onto the bottom of the fuel tank. So I'm going to get this drilled out, try and get this fed through, and then that is the fuel tank all prepped. And then once that's done, we can get the hole drilled for the diesel heater to sit in, and then get it installed. So this is the little nozzle for the fuel tank. So the idea is that we have to get that installed like on the corner or somewhere along them lines. It does look like it's got thicker plastic here, so maybe I have to go through them, but I don't really want to go on the base so that it doesn't suck any like rotten fuel through the or any debris from the fuel tank into the fuel system. So even though I might lose a little bit, I think I'll probably just go for the corner, to be honest. See how it goes. But it's got some little rubber O-rings on there as well, so I've had to install that. That's just going to create that seal. So a little bit paranoid about this bit, because what I don't want to do is drill this hole too big, so because otherwise my fuel tank's just going to leak. So you do get this drill bit with it, with the system. I'm not actually sure if it's for this, but it does kind of look about the right size for the nozzle. So, but what I might start with is just something a little bit smaller, kind of try and push it in from the outside for now, and before we feed it through with a cable or something. So let's get this hole drilled and let's see what happens. Alright, I've just drilled the little hole, but it does look like it's going to be that bit that comes with it, because that's not even going to go in. So let's make it a little bit bigger. So that actually does fit in there perfect now. So I'm going to feed this through on the inside. I'm going to feed a little cable through here, pick it out the other end, and then try and pull the nozzle back through. Before I try and pull this cable out, I'm just going to fasten it on so it doesn't drop out again. Another little O-ring just to seal that off. And then we've got the nozzle fully installed. So let's get this fastened up tight, and then we can start with the hole in the van floor. Right, that's nice and tight now, and that's the diesel tank complete, so we can put that to one side for now until we're ready to come back. So the next part is getting the turret plate installed. So I've got a 127mm kind of circular drill bit there, so this is the nerve-wracking bit, but let's get it done and let's get this turret plate installed. So this is the 127mm drill bit, the round circular drill bit that I've got. So first thing we need to do is get under the van and just make sure that we're not going to be hitting anything chassis wise and anything like that. So if we go around here, under the van, I already know from previous seat installations that this area here is going to be absolutely fine for where I want the diesel heater. So probably want it around here. Obviously I've got some plates and stuff here that I want to just avoid hitting. But yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do is drill up with a pilot hole, and that's just going to give me my reference on top to where it's going to go, and then we'll go back on top and get the hole drilled from the top rather than underneath. So first thing I'm going to do is drill this pilot hole, and I'll bring you back. Right, so here's my pilot holes here. I've just done 2 because I couldn't really decide whether it needed to be more forward or back. But having placed this on, I'd imagine it probably wants to be a little bit further forward. So I'm just going to drill. I mean, there's not a huge difference between the two. I'm just going to drill out this one, and yeah, let's get this turret installed. And we do need to build the heater on the turret first, so once the hole's drilled, I'm just going to make sure that the turret sits in nicely. I'm going to treat the bare metal that gets exposed, and then we can start building up the diesel heater ready to slot in the hole. This is proving to be somewhat difficult for my poor little drill, but I'll get in there. I think I might have to get the jigsaw out. Well, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? I just touched the blade. Oh well. Let that cool down for a minute, I can smell it. We are getting there. Just got this last little bit at the top to do though. What a nightmare. I haven't made this look easy. There we go. One hole for the diesel heater. Not as clean as I would have liked it, but and I stupidly touched the blade as it was really hot. So, oh well, we live and we learn. So, just going to let that all cool down, and then I'm going to give it a bit of a clean and a bit of a scrub up, and then give it a spray. So I've got some Hammerite spray. I'm just going to spray a bit of this around the edge of the bare metal there, stop it rusting, and then that's the hole complete.
Okay.
Alright mate. Logan's come to help. Excuse me, I need that.
I want that.
Excuse me.
I take a picture to something there.
Logan, I need that, mate.
I'm going to take a picture today.
That's it here.
I can take a picture. Where is it?
It needs to go that way like that. And that'll do. Right, let's make sure this turret plate fits. Alright, now that the hole is drilled, sprayed and cleaned up, let's make sure that the turret plate fits. Happy days. Fits like a glove.
Tell Logan
Cool.
help him.
Logan's helping. Right, so yeah, no, that fits nicely, that. Not too much movement, that's good that. So what I'm going to do is build this turret plate onto the diesel heater, get all the exhaust and everything mounted, and then we can get the diesel heater in the hole and then wire it up. Right, before we fit this turret plate, I've just modified it slightly. Just added this little hole here and then a little line just so I can feed, so my fuel pump's going to go underneath the van so that it's out the way to reduce the clicking. So I'll just drill the little hole here. And I see some turret plates actually do come with this, but I can feed the fuel pump wire through that and put that into the hole, and then also the fuel line can also go through this hole as well from the tank, which is going to go over here. So yeah, let's get this on the diesel heater and get everything all clamped up and wired together. going to feed the fuel pump cable through there and the fuel line as well. Right, I think what I'm going to do actually, just so I don't squash the fuel line within this, I think I'm just going to drill another hole here just because it's a little bit more free for the fuel line to go through. So let's do that now before we move on. Give that a little file. So same as we did before. That through there for the fuel pump. That's the wire, and that's fine where it is. And then the fuel line can just feed straight through there, like so. Fuel line. And that seems to move freely enough. I'm going to get this all bolted in. Get these four bolts on, which I assume are in this pack here. The first bit we're going to do is the exhaust. Now, these Jubilee clips, they're not great apparently, so what I've actually bought for the exhaust is just a little bit of exhaust sealant just to put around here, just to make sure that kind of seal is tight so that there's no kind of leaks out the exhaust. So obviously, you know, that's just going to slot on there like so, with a Jubilee clip around it. But I am just going to add a little bit of exhaust sealant paste just around here, just to make sure I've got a nice tight seal on there. That is not going anywhere, and it's nice and sealed, and that's job one done on the exhaust. So that'll bend out like that. That's all good, happy with that. Make sure it is actually quite tight, so I don't want any leaks. That is not going anywhere. Okay, next thing to do is to get the air filter and the air pipe attached to this hole here. I'm just going to try and stretch out this air pipe as much as I can without ripping it, because it feels quite flimsy. Because I want these two to be as far away from each other as possible. So that's not going off there now. And then that is just going to attach onto here with another Jubilee clip going around there. Okay, next is the air pipe. Fit that onto there. And again, we're just going to nip that off, make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, it's nice and tight. So that's going to be it for now. What I'm going to do is, because the fuel pipe is going, or the fuel pump is going to be underneath the van, what I need to do is just get this in position, figure out how much fuel line I need to go to the fuel pump. So there'll be a fuel line that goes between these, probably that way, but yeah, there'll be a fuel line that goes between these, and then this will then come up to the tank. So this has actually got a filter built into the pump, and it's supposed to be a little bit quieter than the standard one that you get as well. So yeah, I'll get this in place, and then we can start thinking about how long the fuel line needs to be to go to here, where this is going to be mounted, and then we can then feed the rest of the fuel pipe up and into the tank. So let's get that done. Just going to feed everything through there. It should sit nicely in there like that. So now that that's all rested on there, we can go check underneath and see where the fuel lines need to run. Okay, so we can see that the diesel heater's all in nicely. So I just need to figure out where this fuel pump wants to be. I'm thinking somewhere up here. Once I've decided, I'll bring you back. Okay, so I've now decided where the fuel pump's going, and I've cut some line. So I'm just going to get the fuel line attached to this hose, and then get the fuel pump attached, and then we can start getting it mounted under the van. Okay, I couldn't get one over here. This unit is just too big for these like clips that I have, so, but that's not going anywhere now, so. Okay, so now we can push this under the van and then get the other fuel line attached to here somehow from the tank. So let's do that. Okay, so now that the heater's in place, obviously I need to go underneath and attach all the fuel pump and mount the exhaust and stuff. My tank is actually going to go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the rest of the fuel line that I have just through the hole that I cut earlier in the turret, which should go nicely through here. And now I can pull that through at the bottom, attach it to the other side of the fuel pump, and then that leaves me this to attach to the tank. Right, so back under the van again. This fuel pump, which is now attached to the diesel heater, is going to be mounted here, like so. So there's a small angle it needs to go on. So that's going to be mounted there. So yeah, we can now attach the other fuel pump, which I've fed through, or the other fuel line, to this like that, and then that will then go to the tank. And I can start getting all this bolted up, ready to fit the tank, put some fuel in, and start wiring it up and priming it. Right, so I've just mounted the fuel pump at the angle required, and I've also actually added some soundproof deadening insulation, this kind of stuff, just underneath the screw, and hopefully that'll quieten down some of the clicking that goes on with these pumps. So that's all wired in now. So that is complete. So now we need to mount the turret onto the floor by just screwing in each of the corners. So let's go and do that. Okay, so now that the fuel pump and everything is on and the diesel heater is now attached to the floor, the next job is to get the silencer or the muffler on the end of the exhaust with a Jubilee clip. I'm going to mount that just to the bottom of there like so. So I'm going to get this done because it's a bit awkward holding the camera and doing it, and I'll bring you back as soon as it's done. Okay, so I've finished mounting everything up. Well, I'm not overly happy with it because I have had to use zip ties for now for most of it. But when I can get some better screws, I'll replace the zip ties, so probably do that another time. But for now, that's all zipped up, all fastened and all the way. Fuel lines are all in and everything's done down here. So let's go to the top of the van. We can start wiring this thing up and get it tested. Just going to connect the fuel tank up now. And we need to put some fuel in it. Okay, that's the tank installed, diesel heater installed, obviously the fuel pump cable going to the loom, fuel line is coming in here, down into the floor and into the fuel pump. Okay, now that the diesel tank is installed, all the fuel lines are in, the diesel heater itself is all screwed down, it's time to start getting these wires connected, and then we can prime the pump and get it all tested. So I have actually since moved my battery under the seat just to create a bit more space around this area just for the diesel heater. So I'm going to move a few things and then we're going to get this wired in, So yeah, let's give this a go. Right, to get started, I've just attached some lugs onto the end of the power cable. That's the positive cable. Then we've got an earth to stick on the van. And then this plug here is just going to go straight into the diesel heater. And then of course I've got my screen as well, so we'll use this to prime the pump. Yeah, so let's get this wired in, and then we're going to put some fuel in. Right, so the first thing I'm going to connect up is the heater itself. So we can put this in. Probably should only go in one way, I believe, which is not that way. There we go. Make sure that's in there nice and tight. And we can wire straight to the battery because we've got an inline fuse here. So eventually I probably will put it on my board, but for now I'm just going to pop it in here because I haven't actually got enough cable to run this over to the fuse board, which is over here on the other side of the van. So for now I'm just going to put it straight in the battery for the purpose of testing. So it has got a fuse on it, so we should be all good to go. I was going to put an isolator switch on, but unfortunately I haven't got any 10mm lugs, so for now it's just going to have to go straight into the battery. Right, as I was just starting to wire all this up, I realised I didn't have any diesel, so I've been out, bought some diesel, and I'm going to put that in the tank before I wire it up, and then we'll try and get this thing primed. The ultimate leak test for my valve as well. Now that we've got some fuel in the tank, we finished off these wiring. I'm just going to hook these up to the battery, and then we're going to prime it up. Now, as we can see, we've got life on the screen. Happy days. So the next job is to prime it. So I'm just going to be under here. I've got my controller next to me, just here. So I'm just going to prime that until probably the fuel reaches around about this zip tie before it goes into the unit itself. So I think I have to stop it a couple of inches before, otherwise I'm just going to get bellowing white smoke coming out. So I'm going to try and stop it around about here. Let's see if we can get that done. Now I can see it's starting to come out the pump now. It's now coming through here. I'm just going to stop it there. So now I can see that there's fuel in the lines all the way up to this point here. So before it's gone into the tank, I'm just going to prime that a tiny bit more. Stop it there. Okay, so I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there is actually fuel in this line now. So I've stopped it just short of where we need to be. So I think that should be okay for the priming. And now let's see if it turns on. Right, so I've just flicked this on now. You can see the fan is now spinning and the glow plug light is on. Just here. So I'm just going to give it a few minutes to do its cycle. And yeah, hopefully we've got a working heater. Alright, I can feel this air starting to warm up now. That seems to be working just great. Oh, and there we've got it, guys. Successfully working diesel heater. Happy days. Another success on the van. Now when we go away next weekend, we're going to have a nice toasty van. Right, it's just seriously just warming this place up so fast. So, buzzing that that's in now. So, last job, I just need to mount this to the wall, do a bit of cable management, and then jobs are good in. So yeah, I'll probably do that another day because it's completely pitch black outside now. But yeah, just happy we finally got the diesel heater in and working. It's really good. Happy with that. Right, well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. There's a bit here, there and everywhere because I obviously really wasn't sure what I was doing, but it actually just goes to show that anyone can really install a diesel heater. So if you did enjoy this video and you're enjoying the van build series, make sure to drop a subscribe, hit a like button if you did get something from this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.